Well, bring out the brooms because that is a sweep on the regular season series over the Florida Panthers. Rangers win, baby, 4-3 over the Florida Panthers. And this was definitely a game that was frustrating at times. The first period was just absolutely abysmal, and they need to be able to play a full 60 going forward. That's for sure. But for the most part, I'm not too upset because you know what? They played a very good second period, a very good third period, despite a couple things that there definitely needs to be some things cleaned up here and there. But huge win, especially because you want to be able to officially clinch a playoff spot and just be done with that. Only 2 more points now, and the Rangers officially clinch. So a win against Columbus is all it takes. Easier said than done, though, at the same time, but let's hope. But before we jump further into this, remember to leave a like if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload a video or go live next. But we got a lot to talk about here because this game was very eventful for the most part because it was pretty back and forth that third period, especially. And yeah, for the Rangers, it feels like we're learning that maybe it's better that they play from behind because they need to every time. And it's nice and all having the comeback ability, but I'd like for them to be able to play a full 60 and for them to be able to start games on time. But again, at the same time, they don't hold leads. So what do I know? What do I know? But let's talk about this game. So it starts off with Stahl going off for a tripping penalty, and the Rangers power play looked awful. And that was a theme throughout the entire game. That ended up getting killed, but the power play needed to improve throughout this game, and it just didn't. Hopefully, the power play units change. I don't know why Gallant is so why he switches the 5v5 line so much, but why he can't switch the power play lines, especially when, shout out to Snapboy Steven, he tweeted this out. The power play units that we saw tonight were 0 for 6, I think, or 0 for 7, maybe even 0 for 8, something like that. And before the change back to these units, they were 6 for 18 or something like that. Why they changed it is beyond me, but regardless, they ended up changing the power play units, and the power play looked awful yet again. They couldn't even set up the damn umbrella if their life depended on it. And then you have times where they were doing a reverse umbrella. You had 3 guys down low, and it just wasn't working. There was just not anything going for the power play whatsoever. But Panthers made it a 1-0 game early in this one as the puck was just loose in the crease and Barkov just taps it in. Rangers challenge for offsides, and it stands as a good goal. I don't know about that one, Chief, but at the same time, it is what it is. I don't know. It was very close. It was very close. So I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt there because of how close it was. But to go down 1-0 like that just sucked. Jarl Halak struggled to control the puck tonight. That's for damn sure. But we'll talk more about that later. Then they ended up killing off the penalty from the challenge. Kane goes off for a hooking penalty, which was confusing because at first they called it on Trocheck, even though Trocheck just threw a hip check. So it was a little confusing at first. That penalty got killed off. And then it was 2-0, though, afterwards, as Halak just was awfully positioned and Lomberg sneaked one right by Jarl Halak. And Panarin had a brutal turnover before that. And then you had Harper just not doing anything useful on the play. Harper was awful tonight, which we're going to talk further about that later as well. But that's all of a sudden now a 2-0 game. Yeah, that is a problem. But you know what? The Rangers like playing from behind, apparently. So let's see what they do now as Lomberg goes off for a roughing penalty. Oh, yeah, the power play doesn't do anything as Chris Kreider gets an opportunity alone in front of the net, and he elects to try and pass it instead of actually just shooting the puck. Makes sense. But the power play was awful. Mikkola then hits the post on an opportunity, and the period comes to an end there. Shots were 12-3 in favor of the Panthers. Not good. Not a good first period whatsoever. Second period rolls along, and this was one of the better periods that the Rangers have played all season long. Hedl just skates through. No hooking call there for whatever reason, but beautiful move there by Philip Hedl to get a chance. Goudreau gets a chance alone in front, and it went in the net, but they call it no goal because of the fact that the whistle was blown beforehand as they rushed to blow the whistle there, but then later on they decide to not rush to blow the whistle, and the Rangers let up a goal, but I digress. And they didn't blow the whistle either on that loose puck there earlier on when it was when the Panthers made it 1-0. Halak had control for a bit, but regardless, it's whatever. But and yeah, that's what I meant, not with later on. But regardless, Stahl goes off for a tripping penalty, and yet again, awful power play. Terrible power play yet again. And the Rangers, though, thankfully made it 2-1 afterwards as Filipino makes a nice move, passes it over to Lafreniere, back to Hedl. He shoots it, can't end up burying it, but Kako comes just crashing towards the net, and he snipes it over Sergei Bobrovsky to make it a 2-1 game. And I noted down also that Bobrovsky had 0 rebound control. That's something that the Rangers had to start capitalizing on. And they unfortunately didn't going forward, but they really needed to capitalize on that going forward. Especially that's a theme that they haven't done all season long, right? We talked about it with Georgiev earlier on in the year when they played the Avalanche. No rebound control, and there was just not enough bodies in front of the net and not enough crashing the paint there and getting those loose pucks. They need to be better at that, and too much perimeter play, that's for sure. But that seems to be a theme every night, right? Hedl then hits the post with a lot of net opportunity there. But thankfully, the Rangers end up making it 2-2 either way, and we don't have to stress about that. As Trouba makes a great pass over the Lafreniere, makes a nice little deke move, and he backhands one past Sergei Bobrovsky to make it a 2-2 game. Tyler Mott with an assist on that as well. And the period was great. It could have easily have been a 4-2 game after that period. Shots were 22-9 in favor of the Rangers. Love what I saw there. Third period, 50-50 on how that one went down. The shots were 17-13 in favor of the Rangers, but a lot of defensive lapses in that third period. The Rangers got a nice lucky goal as Kane tries to pass it over to Artemi Panarin in front of the net. It ends up tipping off Verhaeghe's stick and in. So that made it a 3-2 game. Then the Rangers would make it 4-2 as Ekblad just overskates the puck. Filip Hedl says, I'll take that. He brings it to the net alone, and he just sneaks it by Sergei Bobrovsky. That makes it a 4-2 game. Unfortunately, though, the Panthers would respond right back as Verhaeghe wraps it around the net, and Barkov gets another tap-in goal right there. Harper and Schneider doing absolutely nothing in front of the net. Again, you needed better defense from Harper tonight, especially. Kane then got a breakaway opportunity, but Montour makes a good defensive play. Halak at the end makes 2 big saves back-to-back, and the Rangers hold on to win this. We had cardiac Rangers at the end, but they hold on to win the game. Shots in the game were 42-34 in favor of the Rangers. Face-off percentage, 55-45 in favor of the Panthers. Power play went 0 for 3 tonight for the Panthers. It went 0 for 2. So good to see the penalty kill do well. The power play, though, needs to be better going forward. That's for sure. Hits were 20-17 in favor of the Rangers. Block shots, 23 for the Rangers, 11 for the Panthers. You notice them blocking a lot of shots. They were definitely protecting the house a lot. Giveaways 4-14, and that is with the Panthers giving up 14, the Rangers giving up 4. But those turnovers, oof, were they brutal. Those 4 turnovers, especially with Panarin turning the puck over. But regardless, they end up grabbing the 2 points. We ended up helping New Jersey in the process. We helped the Islanders in the process. That's the only unfortunate part, but you know what, who cares? As we might catch the Devils. They're currently up 3-2 on Ottawa, so a little scoreboard watching there. Hopefully Ottawa could come back and win that game. But Gallant ended up switching the lines in this game. Raise your hand if you're surprised. All right, put your hand down because you're lying. So what ended up happening is we ended up seeing the lines that we saw when Kane first got here. We saw Panarin, Trocheck, and Kane, and then we saw Kreider, Zibanejad, and Tarasenko. And you know what? It actually worked out pretty well, and you got to give Gallant a little bit of credit for playing the kid line as much as he did, especially with them rolling, but we'll talk more about that. The first line was okay. I would have liked more. Again, Kreider just did not have a good game at all. He needs to be better. Yeah, that's all I have to say about Kreider. He needs to be better. He has not been good enough whatsoever. And again, he had those 2 good games in those blowout wins, but where is that Chris Kreider on a consistent basis? I don't know, but we need it. Zibanejad, just an okay night for him as well. A quiet night for him. No points for him. 4 shots on goal, but it's not like any of those shots were really high danger, in my opinion. And same for Tarasenko. He just did not do enough whatsoever. Second line, though, I will say I really liked it when we ended up seeing that. Panarin, Trocheck, and Kane, they had a very good shift there in the second period where they were just toying with the Florida Panthers. Same with the third period. They had a really good third period as well. Trocheck gets a nice little opportunity down low below the hash marks there. So the second line had some opportunities. Kane's breakaway opportunity. They look good, but at the beginning of the game, Kane and Panarin were just not good whatsoever. I will say that. They looked slow and they needed to be better, but thankfully they were going forward in that game. And I'm very happy with what I saw from that second line after Gallant made the change. But they're not the story because the kid line was, and the kid line has just been absolutely unreal for the Rangers as, man, Lafreniere, really good game for him. 2 points for him on the night, a +3 as well. Had a nice little takeaway too as well. Hedl, very good game. Love what I saw from Philip Hedl. And Philip Hedl looked very confident with the way he was moving the puck, blowing by defenders as well. I'm happy with what we saw from Philip Hedl tonight. And then Kakko as well, winning board battles a lot. Very good effort from the kid line, and this was one of their best games of the season. And this is why I said I wasn't worried about the kid line as well. Each of them 2 points on the night, and yeah, there's no reason to worry about them because they were gonna get hot inevitably, and they're hot right now. So very good production from the kid line, and the fourth line, solid production from them for the most part tonight from VC Goudreau and Mott. Not a lot to complain about there. They forechecked well, and they've been the most consistent line on a nightly basis, so I'm very happy there. Jarl Halak, I want to jump to, who had a solid game. Would have liked for him to maybe have stopped that second goal. I don't know if he was screened or not, but it looked more like he was out of position. But not a bad night for Jarl Halak. The defense, though, I mean, the Schneider-Harper pair was a disaster tonight. They were definitely awful, especially Harper. Harper was just... Yeah, there's a reason that he's the seventh defenseman and Ryan Lindgren plays over him. We'll leave it at that. Schneider didn't have the best game either, but at the same time, it is what it is, I guess, right? And then Mikkel and Fox were definitely the best pair. I'm happy with what we saw from them. Pretty solid effort from both of them. And then Trouba and Miller. Miller, he had another bad game, in my opinion. Miller needs to be better going forward, especially because we're getting close to the playoffs. We need more from Keandre Miller. We really need more from Miller. And then Trouba, every single time he shoots the puck, I wish I just had on deck a sound of glass breaking, because that might as well be what it is when Jacob Trouba shoots the puck. You just hear, I don't know if that picked up on the mic, but you just hear the boards every time he shoots the puck because, my God, he cannot shoot the puck. But that's all I have to say about this game. Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat before I wrap things up for the night. But overall, you need to play a full 60. You had a good second, you had a good third, but we need a full 60. That's all I could really say. The Devils score is now 3-2. I thought I just saw the score was 3-1 and it got taken off the board, but could be mistaken. Yeah, it is 3-2. NHL website, nice and glitchy. But re-comment what you said here about Mott, and I'll get to it. I apologize. A lot of comments coming through, and I just had to cover the game there. Hedl reminds me a lot of Jesper Foss, a solid, consistent player. Love those kind of players. I wouldn't say he's a consistent player. I actually kind of disagree with the consistency part, because Hedl, when he's quiet, is really dragging this team down. But when he's on a hot streak, yeah, he is easily one of the best on this team, no question. So that's all I have to say about Philip Hedl. Yes, if we don't address these slow, sloppy starts, which puts us in a hole almost instantly in our weak defensive structure, we're going to be left in the dust come playoffs. Yeah, I agree. You need to be able to play a full 60, especially come playoff time. And especially against the Devils, who are a quick team. Nope, you can't afford these mistakes and slow starts at the beginning. You got to be on your game early. You got to be moving your feet early, because chances are they're going to capitalize off the rush and they're going to end up making it a 3-4-0 game. And it's going to be difficult to come back. As much as we rave about the Rangers' comeback ability, yeah, that's not going to happen against the Devils if you're going to give up 3 or 4 goals in the first period and start off this slow. So yeah, I do agree with that. No, I didn't see the quote there, but I'll definitely look into that later on after the show, unless you want to comment about that. But I'm concerned for the coaching staff because come playoff time, Gallant doesn't adjust. Agree, but the Devils also, it seems like, have an inability to adjust at times as well. So that's the only thing that makes me comfortable. But for rounds after round one, yeah, I definitely get a little more skeptical when it comes to that. I'm not worried about the offseason right now. We'll see what they do there. Yeah, Miller is worrying me too, Anthony. I'm very worried about Keandre Miller. He has not looked good at all down the stretch here. And when it's a time that you need him to be better, yeah, it's definitely concerning. Let me see if I can find your comment about Mott there. Let's see if I could find that. I don't see your comment about Tyler Mott at all. Yeah, this is true. But at the same time, getting in these holes come playoff time, you're not always going to get out of them, especially against a good team like we saw against the Tampa Bay Lightning. When they went down, they were not coming back in those games. Why? Because Tampa Bay knows how to close out a game. Once you get to play teams that know how to close out games, those come from behind games are going to be impossible to win. Um, let's see. Patrick Kane, pretty on the kid line, pretty impressive. All three of them are good at holding on to the puck and making plays. I was just saying, Phil, I've got to come out with you guys early on the ice because I know they go out early and they work on that stuff. Yeah, it would be nice for Kane to work in the lab with them as well, get a little extra work in. So, yeah, I'm happy to hear, though, Kane give them some high praise. Yeah, exactly. Whatever happens in the postseason will dictate what happens in the offseason. So we can't really say exactly what's going to happen for sure. I think Mott is the best because he puts all of his damn effort in and only one on the team that skates. I miss the old days. I really like, I like Tyler Mott. And there's a reason that I raved about him and why I hyped up his return, why I have a jersey on the wall for him, and why I just love Tyler Mott. He gives it every night, and he's one of the most consistent players. So, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, the kid line's definitely been better than the top six, that's for sure. But we need the top six to step up sooner rather than later because you can't just rely on depth scoring. Still want Johnny Broadway on this team come playoff time. Johnny Broadway. Harder win than it should have been, but at least the kids all contributing. Kane, too, for that matter. Much needed. Agree, Mikey. Definitely agree with that. Definitely should have been an easier win, but I don't want to do this for too long. Maybe come playoff time, I'll be able to, not be able to because I technically can, but maybe come playoff time, I'll make these reaction videos longer and get to more comments. But just because of the fact that's not the playoffs, I don't want to keep these videos too long because I don't think people care about Game 73 against the Florida Panthers that much outside of the diehard fans here. So to watch more than 20 minutes of it. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this one. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload a video next or go live next. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Rangers.